Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I came to this House as an accidental politician. I never thought I was going to become a politician. I never even considered it. But prior to entering politics, I worked at Western Sydney University, and part of my day job was I used to go and see politicians both in Macquarie Street and Canberra. And nearly after every meeting, I kept coming away with a sinking feeling that MPs and ministers, they don't listen to you, and worse still, they don't understand. But around the same time in 2010, I was approached by the Liberal Party to run for the seat at Parramatta. They said they wanted new blood and a clean skin. And I know now that that's a euphemism for naive and gullible. They said to me, "You're the perfect candidate. You can make a difference." That's a code for, we haven't found anyone better, and we don't expect to win the seat, so go your hardest. So I got lots of advice from different people. One of them said, "You have 1 in 1,000 chance of winning." Another, Alan Manley, who is in the gallery today. I want to say and recognise Alan and Jennifer, his wife, and thank you for all your support and your friendship over the last 12 years. Alan gave me some wise and considered counsel, saying, "Don't do it." So, of course, I promptly ignored Alan's advice. Now, all that I had to do was join the Liberal Party. Go figure. Run for the Liberal Party, you've got to join. I was sold on the dream that I can make a difference. But no one told me there were factions in the Liberal Party. No one told me that I had to fight for a pre-selection, let alone the election proper. And I need to acknowledge Charles Camanzuli and his family here today, and especially for in 2011 putting his support behind me at the expense of his own personal interests. And I want to say thank you for your courage and conviction. Despite the odds, we won Parramatta in 2011 with a 25% swing. And I acknowledge the Premier, Barry O'Farrell, for his leadership. I also acknowledge all the volunteers and supporters who have helped me over the last 12 years. People like Chris Bailey, my campaign manager in 2015 and 2019. Colin Robinson and Andrew Biden, my Praetorian Guard, who went into battle for me when the politics got messy. Benjamin Barrack, and I can see Benjamin's here, and your family, who has always been deeply loyal and someone who I could always turn to. There are so many others like Kevin Costello and Santa Lynn, spending weeks at pre-poll in the hot sun, rain, wind and cold. And others like Dennis Fioruni, Alan Sexton, Ralph Buttigieg, Raymond Cassis and the late Arthur Inglis, and many more branch members who gave their time generously, and to the hundreds of volunteers who turn up every election day. These are the champions of the campaign. Volunteers whose supporters don't ask anything for themselves but believe in the cause. People who don't ask anything in return, just want to support me. Supporters like Sunil Lil and Paul Nicolau, also here today. I say thank you. I first moved to Parramatta in 1991 to start a business. It was a big town and everyone seemed to know each other. Parramatta was then referred to as Sydney's second CBD. Yet we suffered from the stigma of being Westies. Much of the blame should be levelled at ourselves because we didn't have our own confidence. Fast forward 20 years, and in 2011, in my inaugural speech, I posed the underlying question of what do we do with Parramatta? Since the early days of colonisation, government needed to decide what Parramatta's role in New South Wales was. I said Boston to New York is like Parramatta to Sydney. Not the same, but distinctive and complementary. And we also deserve our fair share. Successive governments have ignored Parramatta for decades, and we were stuck in limbo. Mr. Speaker, today Parramatta has been transformed. Our skyline has been reshaped. It is now defined as the central city, or as I like to say, the eastern suburbs of Western Sydney, the capital of Western Sydney. My priority has always been to create local jobs. We need people to give them the option to live and work in the same place. We need to start with a government commitment. And I'm proud that over the last decade, this state government has moved over 12,000 jobs, government jobs, to Parramatta. And it started with the moving of the New South Wales Department of Education headquarters, 1,800 staff to Parramatta. And I want to acknowledge and thank the then Premier Mike Baird and the then Minister for Education, Adrian Piccoli, for your vision to make this happen. But it's the businesses that we rely upon to provide the employment. And we all have some of the best entrepreneurs and businesses in Parramatta, like JMI Holdings, with its head office in Melrose Park, and founder and CEO Susan Lee, employing thousands of people right across Australia in the service industry. And Homa, with founder Lin Yi and brother Jeffrey. And I can see you guys here today. You founded the business 30 years ago, Lin. You've grown the business to be a phenomenal success. You manufacture pharmaceuticals for around the world export. You win awards, and we're very proud to say Parramatta is your home. Mr. Speaker, I came to office saying Parramatta deserves its fair share. I'm proud of our government that has delivered a once-in-a-generational investment over the last decade. City shaping, infrastructure and transformational projects. Over $7 billion of state government invested in things like the Westmead Biomedical Precinct, with over $1 billion in Westmead Hospital and $600 million being continued to be invested in the Children's Hospital. A $2.5 billion investment in Parramatta Light Rail, and a commitment and $600 million to start Parramatta Light Rail 2. Over $800 million in Parramatta Powerhouse Museum for the children of Western Sydney, and it will attract over 2 million visitors a year. We've also spent $300 million on CommBank Stadium, the best stadium in Australia. We're investing $30 billion in Metro West to connect Parramatta CBD and Sydney CBD in less than 20 minutes. We're partnering with Parramatta Council to deliver a brand new pool, an $85 million state-of-the-art aquatic centre. We're investing close to $1 billion in new schools and delivered schools, to include the new and first vertical public high school, Arthur Phillip, in the new schools, Badanami, Parramatta Public, and major upgrade to Cumberland High School, Carlingford West, Rosehill Public, and our new schools planned for Rydalmere and Westmead. We are reshaping our suburbs significantly with major projects like the North Parramatta Heritage Precinct, and we've invested over $100 million into protecting our heritage assets, some of the most significant colonial and early European buildings in Australia, and this will facilitate the University of Sydney second CBD campus for 25,000 students. We're close to starting the Tilapia redevelopment, building a new cohesive community to replace the 640 social housing with 1,000 social and affordable housing and 3,500 private dwellings to form a cohesive community. And we continue to plan for the Camellia Peninsula with a new community with 10,000 homes transforming industrial wasteland into waterfront living. When government invests, private investment follows. Well, Parramatta is fast growing, accounting for close to 10% of all of New South Wales homes. And industries continue to invest billions of dollars in private commercial, educational and retail sites. Like Western Sydney University, and I acknowledge the Vice-Chancellor, Barney Glover, for his foresight and commitment to the development of 2 new buildings in Parramatta CBD and a 3rd new innovation quarter at Westmead. The most common comment I get from people who haven't been to Parramatta for a while is that they're amazed by its growth, aspiration and vibe. Mr. Speaker, it's the people and the communities of Parramatta that make it so special. It's the established and new communities. We have our own Little India in Harris Park with a strong Indian community, and I must recognise Sanjay Deshwal, local business owner and founder of Little India Harris Park Business Chamber. Also, Nitin Setia, who's here today, also a founder of the Business Chamber, but also has one of the best, if not the best, restaurants in Harris Park, Gingers. And Jagadeep Singh, who has always been a supporter but owns Macallum College, a commitment to education. We had other strong and vibrant community groups like the BAPS Swaminarayan Santha, and I recognise Darshan Desai with all the work that he has done, or the Buddhist Light International Australia with Francis Wong, and I can see you, Francis, there. It's great to see you here. Or St John's Cathedral, led by the Reverend Bruce Morrison and Reverend David Old, with plans for a new, much welcome development for our city. Or St Ioannis, serving the Greek community with great plans for a new cathedral and school, and Cos and John are here tonight. And the Maronite community with Our Lady of Lebanon, Co-Cathedral, and the Holy College of the Maronite family. And can I thank Sisters Marlene, Irene and Margaret for your role in making sure the school is such a wonderful school, and your kind invitations to lunch every so often. Thank you. And Redeemer Baptist, Jonathan Cannon and Russell Bailey, who are here tonight, have committed to excellence in education under a Christian worldview. Congratulations. But the real work for an MP is serving the people. The people, through no fault of their own, who have been dealt difficult cards. Life is not always so kind to some people. Like the people who don't have loud voices, like the migrant groups who have recently arrived into Australia. And I'm proud to oppose the changes to 18C of the Racial Discrimination Act. It is wrong to vilify those without a voice. None of these achievements would be possible without the tireless work of my dedicated parliamentary office. I would like to recognise all the staff who have contributed. Marsha Mannett, who has been with me for nearly 12 years and now in my ministerial office. Rumour has it that Marsha in the ministerial office was required to interpret Geoff speak. Often I don't finish my sentence and I give cryptic messages and they rely upon Marsha. Can I also recognise Sarah Thompson, who now most competently leads the office, and my other staff, Deborah Howard, Sue Chambers, Dia Bood, and Lorraine Doyle, and all the other staff and volunteers. Mr Speaker, I thank the then Premier Gladys Berejiklian for you supporting my appointment as the Minister for Skills and Tertiary Education in 2019. And thank you, my daughter Mia, for your contribution. Gladys is the most hardworking and the most honest person who I've ever known. Whilst in the portfolio, we had some great wins in this important area, such as offering free online courses for 125,000 students during COVID when people were locked down. Over $580 million Skilling for Recovery program with the Feds for 250,000 vet students. An educational pathway project which now has grown to 145 high schools involved to give young people the opportunity to choose a vet career. And the creation of the Institutes of Applied Technology at Meadowbank and Kingswood. I thank my dedicated staff, Mitch Potts, my Chief of Staff, who has been with me for nearly 4 years. He's my perfect foil, considered, meticulous, and stops me from doing all the outrageous things I really want to do, curbing my enthusiasm. I want to thank Nicholas Karam, who started with me many years ago in my electoral office at the age of 17 as a volunteer. He left to become a successful lawyer and now has returned to be the Deputy Chief of Staff, and I commend him on his thoughtfulness. Can I thank Ben Turner, who went on to become the Deputy CFO in another large organisation, Catherine Thompson, who works in the tech industry, Ramsey Martin, who's now working as a lawyer, and John Michael. John Michael was our own in-house TAFE expert, or as we called him, wise old Yoda. Jess Cortez has moved from my office to become bigger career in media at the new airport, and Rommel Varghese is also back to private enterprise. Others who have moved to new opportunities in other ministerial offices include Lee Vanderbroek, Natalie Hissey, Felix and Ellie, and thank you for all your work. And my drivers, Carl, Paul, Trevor and Engen, thank you for your service over the last 3.5 years. Can I tell you, late in 2019, the then Premier Gladys Berejiklian ordered me to come to her office. Let me assure you, and everyone in the gallery, the Premier rarely orders you to come down to your office. Normally they make an appointment, you wander down there in a couple of days and see them. This time she actually called me. I missed about 3 of her calls, which is a bit embarrassing. And she said, come to my office now, not later, but now. And you know what I thought? What have I done? More importantly, I thought, what have I been caught doing? Glad was asking me to become the acting minister for sport, multiculturalism, seniors and veterans. Explaining it was only going to be for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks maximum. Well, it lasted for 20 months. What could go wrong? I thought to myself. Well, COVID came along. Try explaining to religious leaders right across the state why they can't hold religious in-person services. Try and explain why you're effectively cancelling Easter, Diwali and Ramadan celebrations, a trifecta. Try cancelling Saturday sport for 1 million kids throughout the state. Try saying to the RSL sub-branches that they can't hold Anzac Day commemorations in person. Even worse, explaining to Peter V'landys why we may have to cancel the NRL season. Thanks to the excellent staff whose advice I valued, Nicole Nasser, my Chief of Staff, diligent, well organised now, who's now starting her new family with husband Nathan. Thanks to Bernard Petrusa, who's here tonight. Thank you for driving the department very hard. Some would say too hard. I say focused. Well done. Nomiki Panatakis now works in the DP office. Thank you for all your work. Nick, Natasha and Maria, thank you. In my tenure, I'm proud to deliver some of the great initiatives like the merger of the SCG and venues. This should have happened 20 years ago, but was too politically sensitive. It now manages $4 billion worth of state assets. It was a privilege to be able to deliver $20 million in emergency humanitarian funding for temporary visa holders and international students during COVID, when they had no money, when they had no food and they had no accommodation and nowhere to go. And we were the first state to call for a Royal Commission into veteran suicide. Late last year, where's the Premier? Oh, good to see you, Premier. Thank you for coming. Late last year, I had a change in direction, a new portfolio.
You're welcome.
I acknowledge that interjection. I got the call on Sunday night. It was a bit late. It was about 4:30. It's always worry when you get called late on the afternoon. You know it's never particularly annoyed. The Premier says, well, we've got a change in direction for you. And I replied, really? And I made a few, I think, what the? But?
I'm very grateful.
I'm very grateful. We are all very grateful. I still remember your only instructions, Premier. Don't let them escape. And the second instruction was, don't get in the media.
And you've done both well.
Well, Premier, let me state for the record, no one has successfully escaped under my watch. Being in Cabinet is an honour, and I want to thank you, Premier Perrottet, for your continuing support. Not just as Premier, but when you were Treasurer, and thank you for your $600 million in allowing the start of Parramatta Light Rail to something that will change our suburb, transform our Parramatta and its suburbs forever. The previous Minister, Anthony Roberts, said to me that corrections was a good portfolio.
Best.
A good portfolio, I say.
Comparison to plan.
Well, I disagree. I've discovered it's just not a good portfolio, but it's a great portfolio. What could go wrong with 36 prisons throughout New South Wales and 12,500 prisoners? some of the most dangerous in Australia. I want to recognise Commissioner Corcoran for your vision and leadership. It's great to work with you and continue to work with you on some very important initiatives and projects. I always tell the staff when I'm out at the prisons, there is no better managed agency than corrections. Our officers and staff do a remarkable job day in, day out, 24/7, 365 days a year to keep our communities safe and should be acknowledged as such. Thanks to my staff for their exceptional work in this challenging area. Mitch, Nick and Marsha, who I've already said, Advisor Jackie Hartley, PLO, Gabriel Harp, and my media person, Jonathan Talbot, and my DLOs, George and Suzanne. I thank my colleagues on both sides of the House, this side, that side, and the independents, as we all come to this place with the right intentions. We may not always agree. Democracy is messy, but eventually works. It is my belief that generally people get it right when they vote. Thanks to all the parliamentary staff, Hansard, and all the people that make this place work, your professionalism is outstanding. Mr. Speaker, at the end of 12 years, the real test is whether people are better off now than in 2011. Today, Parramatta is very different. People often say to me, wow, I went to Parramatta and it's booming. It's changed, it's exciting, it's on the move. I think I've helped to make a difference. A special thanks to the great people of Parramatta for your support over the last 12 years. Putting your trust in me, something I've never taken for granted. As a politician, it's easy to say the popular things, a lot harder for standing for the things that are right. Let me assure you, it's harder to run the show than sit on the couch and criticise the show. At the end of 12 years, I've done the three things that I wanted to do. I got elected, I became minister, and I made the decision to leave on my own terms. I want to thank my mum and dad, Bill and Nancy, who are here today, who have loved and supported me despite some of my more dubious decisions that I've made in my past years. You have always sacrificed yourselves for us kids, and I know, despite you not having said it, deep down I'm your favourite child. I also want to recognise and thank my partner Carmel. You have had an outstanding, successful career in media from Sydney to New York. You're a funny, beautiful, intelligent and witty person with a heart. Thank you for keeping me real and centred. And thank you for our wonderful daughter, Mia. I love you very much. To my daughter, Mia, who at 21 months old has already developed a wonderful personality, already so very clever. I promise you that I will support you just like my parents supported me. I look forward to seeing you grow into a confident and highly successful young woman, achieving everything you want to be and everything you want to do, and a person who chooses to be kind and gentle. Premier? Thanks, Mia. Premier, I promise to continue to work as hard as I can till the next election in March, because this is a good government and you're a great Premier. After that, I can't wait to spend more time with you, Caramel, and our beautiful daughter, Mia. I'm Geoff Lee, MP for Parramatta, and it's an absolute honour and privilege to represent the people. Thank you.